All right, I think it's recording. Yeah. So, I have this thing on my mind, okay? Um, I noticed that Shoe0nhead's video about male loneliness, it's gone like super viral. It's all over Twitter. Everybody's responding to it. There's like gigantic million subscriber YouTube channels that have had her on for interviews. Harmful Opinions, who hasn't done a lot of content in a long time, did like an over hour long live stream responding to it. Like, it's gotten a lot of attention. And I was, at first I thought, well, it's weird, but then, her channel's not small and she's pretty active on Twitter and stuff, so maybe that's why. And then I thought about another thing. I thought about this YouTube guy named Tinmen, who I'd never heard of before. And Roma Army, who blew up overnight, she was recommending him. And at the same time, someone reached out to us to have him on for a show, and I had him on. And then I got to thinking, so Shoe, Tinmen, and Roma are all really big, popular channels that discuss men's issues. And they've been doing it Shoe's been doing it since... Shoe's sort of been doing it, you could say, since 2014, but most of her content isn't really about that. But some of it is. Like, she's certainly been sympathetic to these issues. And Tinmen came out of nowhere, but he got on Chris Williamson's podcast, and they did an interview. And Roma's like, she's coming up on, she's like right behind Pearl in terms of like her size. And it got me thinking, like, why do these channels blow up, and what do they have in common? Like, we've been doing this for 10 years, and I know that you could say, oh, it's the quality of the content, and I wouldn't disagree that that's part of it, although I'm not in control of it. But I do think that, a part of me thinks that this left-wing content, it gets like more favorable algorithmic treatment than ours does. And I think that because, like, Paul's channel is still pretty small, and he was consistently doing good stuff. I mean, he did like get to about 80 or 90,000 subs on YouTube, but he's like the wrong kind of guy to talk about this. I think it comes down to, it's either one or two things. Either it's because,
What do you mean by
well, why is Shoe?
What do you mean by Paul's the wrong kind of guy to talk about?
Because he's a male. Because he's a male and he's on the SPLC hate list. Because he's a right-wing guy. Because he has guns in his apartment. Because he lives in Virginia. That's
right.
He's the wrong kind of guy. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
That's what I believe. That's my suspicion. Because, like, the Tinmen, Roma, Shoe, they haven't said anything that we haven't been saying for 10 years. Now, of all of the people that I trust to talk about these things, because, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really care who...
But how do you explain Pearl, then?
Well, I think Pearl she was lucky enough to, and I think it is kind of luck. First of all, being female is a big plus. I think that's a huge bonus. Being young and female is an even bigger plus. But I also think that Pearl did not try to discuss the issues from the issues perspective. She was making content about dating.
Yeah, that's...
So I think that's the reason why. It's like the Whatever podcast and like Fresh and Fit and stuff. Like, they're talking about dating and, and getting laid and like that kind of thing. So I think that Pearl she started by using Kevin Samuel's sort of platform or talking points. And then through that, found her way to us, which is why she interviewed Janice and Paul and somebody else too, in that space.
Really?
But
Pearl interviewed
Pearl interviewed Janice Fiamengo. I don't know. You have to go to her channel. You can find it. She talked to Janice, Paul Elam, and somebody else Mike Buchanan. So she talked to those three, and they're like top tier MRAs in my opinion, right? And they do well. But what I'm saying is, though, like, Shoe makes this video. I mean, like, and it's nothing new. There's nothing innovative about it. Like, when she shows all the left-wing responses, I'm just like, yeah, that's the way it is. Like, I don't know why this surprises anybody, right? Even Allison was like, I don't understand. I was like, because, you can't be left wing and not have an enemy. That's like, it's built on the idea that there is an enemy, and the enemy is men. That's why they don't help them unless you give up your masculinity and put on black lipstick, But I think, so anyway, what I'm saying is, let me just put it out there. Okay, so first you got Shoe0nhead, pretty little girl, petite, sticks up for men in a way with the Gamergate stuff, and that puts her on the map. She exploded when that Gamergate video came out. And then she occasionally will make a video about men's issues. Occasionally, like once every couple of years or so. And she's like, I don't even know how many subs she has because I'm subbed, but I don't really follow her very much. And then you got the Tinmen, who, his channel is pretty small, but he's got forums, and Roma's like, plugging him all the time, and he gets on Chris Williamson. Like, I like Chris Williamson's channel, and he's the guy, though. He becomes the ambassador of men's issues, right? Left-wing guy, very far left guy, okay? Then you got Roma, who's like, 2 million subscribers or something, right behind Pearl. Again, she's basically a feminist that just wants to include men. And but then you got like, people like me and Karen and Allison and Hannah and Janice and Paul and Mike Buchanan, and it goes on. And we're all like doing our thing. We've been doing it for like at least 10 years, and we're not getting the same exposure or attention. And then people are acting like what Shoe said is like this brand new thing, or what, Tinmen said, or what Roma says. They're just saying what we said. Like, Tinmen literally said that he got everything from Aaron Pitsy. He's literally saying what we said. But because he's on the left, he's blowing up. And I think I don't think that's an accident. That's my theory.
I do wonder too, like, I think that these things, they come in cycles, right? Like, you get a lot of people excited about it, thinking about it, but then like over time you kind of like start losing interest because all of the things. Like, there's like you can only consume so much of the same content before it becomes repetitive.
Yeah.
And then like you get a new group of people that find it though, and like so like you had like I think I'm not sure how long ago it was, but there was a time when that stuff was blowing up, and like the MGTOW sphere was blowing
Yeah,
up.
the MGTOW thing was big in like 2015, 2020.
Around that time, like YouTube was like that for that content. There was,
yeah, but YouTube was a completely different landscape.
It was.
Like, you could make response videos and then put the original in your description.
I guess what I'm saying is like, like that energy, it kind of falls off over time, and then you get a new wave. And
I suppose,
new people
but
coming in making content, and
yeah,
they gain a different audience, and they're learning it all for the first time, right?
Yeah, but like, okay, well, this is what I'm a little bit concerned with. Okay, I don't care that I'm glad that people are bringing the issues up, but what I don't like is that it's all left-wing people making the content that's blowing up, because
I definitely think you have a point. I think it is probably spreading more because it is on left-wing channels, and left-wing channels are probably less sensitive.
Yes, and Shoe even said, and this isn't even her video, I was watching an interview she did on another YouTube channel that they talked to her about her video, and she said that it only came up because the left was like, why are men moving right? So it's not even because they care about men. It's because, oh shit, we need people on our team.
Well,
and that's what she said in her video too. And I'm like,
what kind of creeps me out too?
Yeah.
Is I've seen this like at higher levels too. Like, I think I sent you this article. It was I can't remember who it was. It was like one of those bigger media companies, but it said.
Was it a right wing or left wing one?
A left wing.
Guardian. Oh,
and it said. Democrats like are repelling men or something, and like,
yeah, we need to do something about it. I remember that.
Long opinion piece that had all these different opinions. Like, cats was one of the opinions in it. Like,
yeah.
What we're gonna do about like our problem with like what's the right word? Like, they were ignoring men, not
Yeah.
appealing to men.
Yeah.
And and so they're trying to fix that problem, and then all of a sudden all these left-wing YouTubers are like blowing up. Tinmen is blowing up. It does make me wonder. Like, I mean, it could just be like...
I mean, I'm not saying that it's completely like psyop, astroturf stuff. I think that all it is leftists.
It could be an election cycle thing.
Leftists are. It could be, but I don't see the as a Western like political party. I don't see the Democrats having any interest in appealing to men. But if I'm just going to talk about the left, not Democrats, not Tories, not Labor, none of that. I'm not going to talk about that. So put that out of your minds if that's what you're thinking about. I'm talking about people who believe the government has a role in securing other people, like taking care of them, okay? And then there are people on the right who believe that they should be able to self-actualize, to provide for themselves and their families or whoever it is they want to by choice. But that's what it comes down to. Men generally are on the right because that's what being on the right is more masculine, being on the left is more feminine. Now leftists are they're not experiencing the cognitive dissonance yet, because I saw Shoe in this interview and she said, well, the reason why men are struggling is because low wages and we're not giving people like a UBI, like universal basic income, so they can live, and all this other pie in the sky shit. And I'm just like, where does that money come from, Shoe? Where does the money come from? It comes from men. If you think that you're going to be able to create a welfare for men that is paid into by men, that's insane. Like and the only way it could work, and Tinmen, I said the same thing to him, is that you would have to create a hierarchy of men in terms of how much support they deserve based on their class or their race, because that's how the left works. Like, can you imagine a well-to-do straight white guy that's going through like a really hard divorce, or he can't see his kids or whatever, and he's making an appeal to like left-wing MRAs? You know what they'll tell him? Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Leftism is not compatible with men's issues, because men have to be, at the very least, in the oppressor class, and the oppressor class doesn't deserve sympathy. I mean, there's no other way it functions. The left tells you this all the time. So I don't know like why. I mean, I'm okay with Shoe caring about this, and I get Allison's nonpartisan, like, let's just hope that people want to help men. I get that 100%, but until they confront that reality, that their ideology it's not compatible with men who need help, regardless of their race or their class or their sexual orientation or whatever, and the fact that they are different from women, and because of that they have different needs, they have different desires, they have different motivations. And on top of that, and I'm going to get a little bit religious here, but the other thing is that leftism is based in materialism. Maybe spirituality in a way, but not in a fundamental way. And because it's atheistic, right? It is atheistic. Because of that, then all success is based in what you get in the material world, which is why they're okay with doing unscrupulous or immoral things to acquire wealth, either for themselves or for the people that they think are deserving of it. And men shouldn't engage. Women either. Also, men and women should not only engage in material pursuits, because that's how you get guys like Andrew Tate. Where he's looking at how many Bugattis he's got and like what kind of cigar he smokes and how big his house is, because and men are going to chase it if they think it's going to get them what they want. But what they want is love, right? And I don't think leftists understand that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too critical, but I don't see how that works with it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you disagree?
I was paying attention.
Really? Was I talking too much?
No.
Oh. Okay. Well, it's fine. I was just saying that pursuing the material is not enough for anyone.
No.
And I think that leftism is built on atheism, which is materialism, or there's an atheistic undercurrent you know,
Or
at least an agnostic one, like
yeah,
one where it's
where
like
there's nothing but the material.
there's nothing but, right. That's why they're concerned about,
Like,
look, who
break
what do
everything
you have
down.
versus what do I have, right? And there's also like there's no interest in merit, because merit would create inequality, and they don't like inequality. So these things are just not compatible, because if you want a man to be happy and feel fulfilled, you have to let him pursue a higher calling than women, and it has to be beyond the material, and that means that they're going to have to excel, which means it's not going to be equal. So these things just don't work. That's what I'm saying. So I'm a little I guess annoyed. Another thing too is that, like, when I haven't watched the whole interview, but when I see that Shoe makes appearances on other shows, she never says, you know, here are some people that are doing it well. She doesn't mention Janice. She doesn't mention Mike Buchanan. She doesn't mention Karen Strawn. She doesn't.
You know what's weird? Or like
What?
watch this documentary by Cassie J.
Yeah, or watch this. Yeah, exactly.
That's weird,
She
isn't
doesn't
it?
recommend the red pill movie. No, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, no one is doing that. Roma doesn't do that. Tinmen doesn't do that. So it's like, okay, maybe it's just for clout, but it's like, then I can't assume that you actually want what's best for men, because you can say that you are, but it seems like you're coming into this kind of half-ass. Lauren Southern, same thing, right? She like destroyed Rollo. Fine, that's great, whatever, but what do you got to offer? Like, where are you gonna send men that are looking, now that they, that you've exposed Rollo? Like, those men are still gonna want to go to somebody. Are you gonna wait and then destroy Andrew Tate and also not offer anything, or what? Like, I don't want to see. I feel like people are just half-assing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and getting more attention for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't get mad at.
I'm not mad. I'm just
Don't get mad.
disappointed.
Don't get mad at the player.
Yeah. I'm disappointed is all. So, anyway, that's all. I just wanted to get that off my chest. So I'm going to end it here, okay? All right. Jojo. Say goodbye. No? All right.